Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? It's the Otaku Nerd coming at you again with another videos on video game things and stuff. So this week we actually had a lot of freaking big news. I mean, this was kind of like supposed to be E3 time and everything like that. So we got that big reveal about the PlayStation 5, a lot of their games. So basically, that's going to be the majority of this video. But I'll still get some other gaming news stuff in there. I mean, of course, Paper Mario. More details about that game was announced. Obviously, you're gonna hear my thoughts and things and stuff about that first, because one, it's gonna take less time to talk about. Two, it's just Nintendo, and you know I love my Nintendo. But yeah, like I said, most of the presentation is gonna be about like PlayStation news. Of course, Persona 4 just got ported this week. That was like a rumor, like maybe a couple days ago, and then bam, it released today. So it's like, what the heck? But that's still pretty cool. Like, I mean, Persona 4 is one of the best games I've ever played, and now that I know it's out for PC with like a graphical update, because it does look really pretty. I was checking out the trailers on Steam, like, oh wow, this definitely looks better than it used to, at least for the Vita. I've only played the Vita version. But I mean, yeah, to kind of like give my 2 cents on that. And again, most of this video is going to be about the PlayStation 5 games and announcements, just things I'm excited about. I'm not going to cover like the whole thing. It's mostly just going to be things that caught my eye. I was like, whoa, okay, this is great. Because one thing I wanted to point out is from this trailer, this is just like a crap ton of new IPs. Like, honestly, besides Hitman and Horizon Zero Dawn, and I guess it's mostly content. Like, everything else has been a sequel mill like this generation. Like, off the top of my head, I think the only new franchise I remember was Horizon Zero Dawn and Overwatch. Everything else has just been kind of like a sequel, which isn't bad. I mean, like I said, Nier Automata, but that's kind of like a Nier timeline, but that's still a new franchise, I guess you can say. But that's kind of like, you know, the Nier or Nier Automata or whatever. But yeah, I just feel like this generation was mostly a sequel mill, not a lot of new IPs. So I mean, it kind of makes me happy and excited to see this content, see like maybe two, I guess you can say three like sequel-ish things, and everything else like Hitman 3, Horizon Zero Dawn, the Spider-Man Miles Morales thing. But seeing everything being new and brand new and new IPs, you know, whether it's indie games or AAA titles, it's just freaking new. So I'm excited. I want to go ahead and discuss my thoughts and feelings about those games. And of course, no conventions, so I know I'd appreciate you guys stopping by for talking about stuff here in my room. But let's go ahead and get this video started, and then let's just take the time to talk about all the upcoming news and upcoming games that were announced recently and have a good old time. Let's go. To be honest, I was actually pretty surprised that they revealed a lot of information about the new Paper Mario game in this new, like, it was like a 5-minute trailer. It had a decent amount of revelation and revealings. I mean, they definitely, like, you know, Ollie the Oragami King, and you know that he had a sister and whatnot. And of course, they explained more about like the holes in the map that are going to be filled by confetti. They kind of like explained a little bit more on what your overall like objective was. I mean, as you can see, the castle's got all these streamers that there's you're gonna go across the lands, actually, you know, like, I guess detach the streamers or whatnot. Like, you can see these ribbons like way off in the distance, so your goal is to like kind of disconnect those and whatnot. So I mean, I feel like that was a pretty interesting thing. So I'm guessing those are like, you know, dungeons or temples, you know, similar to Ocarina of Time or any other Legend of Zelda game. You got to go to certain locations across the map to do that and everything. But what's really interesting is that it looks like there was they're not necessarily bringing back partners, but you know, they do have like a little like buddy system going on. I mean, it didn't really show them too much in battle, but you know, there's definitely other characters that are making appearance and appear to be on your team. And of course, they definitely explained a little bit more about the combat. Like, they just, you know, the circle grid looks very interesting. I'm not really too sure on how like that whole thing plays out or gets down. But I mean, basically you have to line up enemies for like bigger bonuses, bigger attacks, bigger things and stuffs and whatnot. I mean, it's interesting. I guess it puts a little extra twist on it. I don't feel like that twist was needed, but who knows? Maybe when we get into it, we might actually enjoy it a bit more and kind of have a new facet to the battle system. So I mean, let's see. It looks like I said, we already talked about the characters, but of course, you know, they have names, everything like that. They seem to be like just a smaller crew. I mean, of course, they don't seem to be, I mean, at least what they showed from the gameplay, they don't seem to be very, like, battle heavy. I mean, you saw Bobby, like, do one attack and then that was it. Most of the stuff other than that was Mario by himself doing attacks. And now what it looks like is that his attacks are now actually like, the 1,000-Year Door, which you guys seen me stream, like they're actually part of his repertoire. And then of course he has items he can use similar to that of 1,000-Year Door. It looks like the whole audience is back and whatnot. So it looks like they are taking some facets from the old games to make people happy. But I mean, I know a lot of people are skeptical about it. I mean, maybe their whole delay and the reason why they're delaying the game like this. Well, not delaying the game, but like leaving so short amount of time between announcement and release to actually give people like it just kind of like throws us off guard. So maybe like, I know a lot of people Mario fans are like super skeptical. They're like super anal about how the Paper Mario franchise plays. I mean, to be honest, I feel like they just can't let go of 1,000-Year Door for the life of them. I mean, at least every big Paper Mario fan that I know. Don't get me wrong, I feel like, Sticker Star and Color Splash weren't exactly the greatest experience that maybe I wanted to experience from the franchise. And 1,000-Year Door is definitely better in terms of like, the other games. I've played the other games, just kind of like fell off it. And then, actually was enjoying 1,000-Year Door. It felt like a game. It felt like RPG. I didn't really like the overworld in 81, like where it kind of looked like, you had to go through the grid, go through the lines, get to the next level. So I like this better. I feel like it feels more like a RPG, and since the world is open and, you can traverse the land, I do like that a lot better. So I feel like this game in particular, I feel like is already better than Sticker Star and Color Splash for that effect. I mean, there's the whole boss thing where you have to, it's kind of like got a little bit of a gimmick. I mean, they're things now. They're the things, and you get to boss fight the things rather than boss fight like enemies in game. So I mean that's fine. I don't really mind as long as the boss fights are good. They look a little creative. I saw something with the colored pencils earlier that you had to draw a line or like go through a certain way, and you like line up the circles around it to get a path to it and hit them. So I feel like, it's going to be a bit more interesting. So I'm not against it. I mean, of course, they were talking about how toads were the collectibles and everything like that. So I feel like this game has a lot of content. There's a lot to look at. There's a lot to take in. There's a lot to see. So, I mean, honestly, like, I really do want to give this game an honest chance. I feel like it's doing great. It looks great. I mean, I feel like, like as you can tell from the camera angles, that's really good. It seems to have like a lot of mini games involved. So I mean, I just feel like so many facets are in this game. I mean, I don't know. It just seems really big to me. There just seems like there's a lot in it and a lot to do. So I'm very excited about that. I'm curious to see how this goes. I'm curious about the boss fights. I'm curious about the story. This game comes out in a month, and I still feel like I know so little about it, but I am very excited about it. A part of me is just kind of like, I just can't help but think like this could be like one of the biggest and baddest and coolest, Paper Mario adventures yet. Of course, that's yet to be determined. I know a lot of people are skeptical, but I mean, hey, what I'm seeing right now seems to be a lot of good stuff. But anyway, guys, I think I've ranted on enough about this game. Let's go ahead and get on over to those PlayStation related news thingies and stuffs and things and all that. However, before we do that, I gotta get my honorable mention in there for the Persona 4 Golden coming out for the Steam platform. It's coming out on PC, but yeah, that just dropped today. I was quite surprised. I mean, I know that was a rumor for like a couple days, but to actually finally see it happen is pretty awesome. So I mean I understand why they did it, because the Vita didn't get a lot of love. It was deemed a failure. In your face, Vita fanboys and fangirls that were so hyped up for the Vita, talking about how it's going to crush the 3DS. We can admit that you were wrong. You're an adult, so I'm an adult. Let's just admit it, that the 3DS reigns supreme over y'all's mother asses. But yeah, no. Besides that, I'm quite curious as to why they ported it to Steam and only Steam. I mean, I get why they ported it. Like I said, this game deserves as much love as possible. But with, the entire, like, Persona 5 fan base being on Persona or PlayStation 4, you would think they would actually port that over to that console as well, because, that's where their fan base's majority is, for at least P5. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. Let's go ahead and start getting into the PS5 news, which I definitely wanted to talk about at some point today. So let's go ahead and keep it going, and yeah, we're going to pretty much take care of all of that for now. So, I mean, they revealed what it looked like. They revealed the Spider-Man Miles Morales edition. They revealed the black version. They revealed the discless version. You know, a lot of games were announced, a lot of games were talked about. I mean, unfortunately, I'm not going to go over the entire amount. I mean, when I was kind of like looking back and how long this video was, it's already already over a half hour. So I mean, we're just mostly going to talk about the games I have an interest in, games that I would like to play, that I'm looking forward to, kind of like their release window, everything like that, because, you know, it's like I said, there's too many games to kind of talk about. There's a lot of games that look good. I mean, if I don't talk about it in this video, you know, don't get it twisted. It's not something that I'm not like curious about or want to look into. It's just the things that kind of captured and like just captivated me like instantly, like right there, like, oh my god, like this game looks great. I mean, overall, I feel like the presentation was great. I mean, I'm definitely excited for, you know, this new console. I feel like it has a lot to offer. I mean, honestly, I feel like the PS4, like I said, was mostly a sequel mill. You got very few new franchises. It was mostly sequels. And this one was announced like, you know, like the Sackboy, Hitman, Horizon Zero Dawn. I mean, Demon Souls, it's not, or Demon Souls. I don't know. I'm guessing that's kind of a sequel as well. The Oddworld, that's definitely a sequel. Obviously 2K, but like Resident Evil 8. So there was a lot of sequels that were announced, but I feel like the new IPs just like stuck to me. Oh yeah, Gran Turismo. How did I forget about Gran Turismo? I feel like though, like all the new ones, the new IPs definitely like really stuck out to me. So I mean, of course, oh yeah, Ratchet and Clank. How did I forget Ratchet and Clank? Actually, now that I think about it, there was a lot of sequels announced during this PlayStation 5 announcement. But let's go ahead and talk about, you know, the first game that I was very interested in. I mean, I still need to play the Spider-Man for PS4, but now that I know it's coming out for PS5 and it's coming with new additional content, I'm guessing all the DLC from the PS4 version. And they just talked about adding the new Miles Morales content, so I mean, I'm pretty excited about that. I mean, yeah, that was like a pretty big reveal. I mean, I remember Into the Spider-Verse being such a big deal amongst, like, you know, Marvel fans, and so many people that were just like, oh yeah, this is just totally made for kids, that actually watched it like, holy crap, this is actually a good Marvel movie, this is a good Spider-Man movie and whatnot. So I'm kind of excited to actually see that in more of a realistic game format. That made me pretty excited because I liked Into the Spider-Verse too. I mean, Miles Morales, you know, I mean, being of a Hispanic descent, it's kind of nice to get that representation in a video game. We're never the main protagonists. I mean, we're always side characters. I think Dead Rising 3 was the only time a Hispanic, I guess you could say main character was ever a thing. And even though that was just kind of like, it was very much a stereotype character. So, I mean, he was like, you know, a laborer, like, you know, he worked at a, you know, mechanic, all that good stuff. So, I mean, to actually see, like, you know, a powerful superhero, you know, a POC hero, a lot of hype for this game seemed to like be all over the internet. Made me pretty excited as well. And like I said, just Into the Spider-Verse was a great movie. And it kind of sounded like it had the same voice actor, so I was definitely pretty excited about that. But of course, another new game from Insomniac Studios is Ratchet and Clank. Honestly, I've never played any of these games. I know nothing about what they're about. I know they're a pretty big Nintendo exclusive. I think the PS4 version got, I think there's like maybe one PS4 game that the series got. I can't remember, honestly. Like, I remember like the Ratchet and Clank trilogy coming out for PS3. I can't remember if it got a new game. I think it did. I think it got like one or two newer games. And then yeah, I think the PS4, correct me if I'm wrong, like I said, I'm not really into PS4 exclusives, or I honestly haven't played very many of Insomniac games at all. Like, I owned the Spider-Man game, but I wasn't able to actually get to it just because of the backlog. But now at this point, I kind of just want to wait for the PS5 version because I want it to be kind of like a fresh new experience for me. But yeah, I mean, anyway, Ratchet and Clank, this actually game looks really good. Like, I like the platforming, the shooting aspects of it, you know. It definitely looks like it's more of I don't want to say family friendly. It just looks like it's a game everyone can play. It doesn't look like it's aimed towards kids. I mean, obviously graphically, I think it looks gorgeous. I think, like, yeah, this looks great. Like the bullets, everything like that. It just looks simple and fun. I mean, obviously, I kind of want to like get my hands on maybe the franchise as a whole. Honestly, this is probably not a game that I would get like right away. I would probably like do some backstory stuff. Like, I don't know, like I'm sure I can find the Vita version of the trilogy for pretty cheap. I'd have to do a lot of research into this game, but this game, like based off the gameplay trailer and whatnot, looks really fun. Like I'm usually know like when I would be into a game. like just based off like, you know, a pretty decent amount of gameplay videos and whatnot. Like I'm pretty like smart to that. I've played video games like pretty much all my life. I kind of know like if I'll be able to enjoy it or not. Like I know everybody's like, oh well, you got to play it. Well, it's, you know, it's totally different. But nah, like I've never, since like, I don't know, I want to say like age like 15, I've seen video game gameplay and looked at it. I'm usually pretty spot on when I would like, whether I would like it or not. And this definitely looks like a game, Ratchet and Clank. Looks like one I would enjoy, but I definitely want to get more into the franchise first, and then I'll be able to go into it. The next game I was pretty excited about was a really short trailer. It was like crazy short, but it looks so good. I mean, Square Enix was the publisher and whatnot. It's just, it has a project name. It doesn't even actually have like a title. But I mean, just the you know, the graphics looked great. The, you know, the creatures, the animals, the world you were traversing looked amazing. Like the powers you had looked really good. I mean, it looks like a post-apocalyptic world. I mean, you see like structures and buildings, and you know, it's mostly nature. Like this flying looks amazing. You know, she's got powers and stuff, like tree powers, and it just looks so beautiful. The environment looks beautiful, and like it's just, it looks really crazy. And all this Project ATHIA, I mean, that looks really good. I want to know more about this game. This would be like I said, based off just what I've seen so far, this looks like a game I would really like to play. It looks open. It looks like you got some cool powers. The graphics looks great. It looks like you'll be able to do some platforming. So this definitely looks like something I would be very much into. Alright, so, and then we'll go on to the next game I was so talking about. This one actually looks pretty cool because it's kind of like a Groundhog's Day / the day before tomorrow kind of thing going. I mean, it's like the main character / protagonist or whatnot. She's, you know, she's an astronaut, crash lands on a planet. She dies, she comes back to life. She dies, she comes back to life. So it's just like, you know, oh hey, like this is cool, all right. I mean, I don't think I've seen this like type of plot point in a video game before. I mean, I don't know. There's plenty of indie games out there. Maybe it is, and I just don't know or recognize it. But I mean, yeah, this, I've noticed something about the PS5 games in general, like when it came to the indie games and whatnot. I felt like a lot of cyberpunk, like a lot of futuristic stuff was the thing. This is a third-person shooter style game. Again, looks really good, really realistic. That kind of looks like, you know, the spear thing from the day after tomorrow. So I mean, maybe she is infected with that, you know, that stuff. That like the day after tomorrow thing happens, because yeah, I remember like that big black orb kind of looks similar to that, so I feel like this video game's definitely taken some inspiration from that. But it looks like a sci-fi third-person shooter, and it looks great. Again, I don't know if this is coming to PC or not. Like, it's not, I'm not sure if how many of these are actually PlayStation exclusives. I know a few here and there said they were. So I mean, if I come across that, I'll kind of like I said, I'm watching the trailers while I'm actually, you know, recording the voiceovers and whatnot. But I mean, this definitely looks like kind of like sci-fi horror-y, kind of like, you know, you're against aliens. So I mean, that's the thing. Like, I love sci-fi games. I love Metroid. I'm playing the Halo franchise. I'm sure y'all have seen it streaming. Oh yeah, Returnal, like Eternal, but you're returning, blah blah. But yeah, I mean, I've always liked those like sci-fi games. So I mean, this one definitely piques my interest. Now this one. This next one we're going into, like this, like, I mean, these kind of games I really like, you know, the Tales of games. This is from the Ember Lab Studios. I don't really know too much about them or what they've done. I don't even know if they're a new studio. But, you know, of course, this one definitely looks like, you know, it's a little bit more like age-friendly. But, like, the cutscenes looked really good. I mean, everything like that. I mean, you got, it's like fantasy-like, you know, it's mystical, magical. You know, you got forest creatures and whatnot. You know, you got staffs and, you know, wise old men like talking in the background. I mean, you can definitely, you know, hear it's definitely got like more of like a, you know, spirits and whatnot. I mean, it definitely sounds like, I want to say like has a lot of Asian inspirations. So that's really cool. I mean, of course, like, you've kind of seen this kind of story, like where they're killing and destroying the land, and a lot of like native type stories. Like, doesn't matter the culture, like whether it's Western native or Eastern natives. It definitely feels like it's something along those lines. But the part that gets me excited is like the open world, the open traversing. It looks like platforming. There's collecting things. Like games like that I really like Hob for the Switch. I don't know if you guys remember me streaming that, but that kind of had like the same aspect. So like these kind of more open world adventure fantasy games like Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, the Tales of series. Like, I mean, it can't just be like Skyrim. I want a little bit more like, I don't know what to call it, like spiritual things. Like that's why like on Breath of the Wild, you're like seeing the dragons and like all that, like the lore. Like, I don't know, like Skyrim's a great game, but I feel like that's like more accurate, less fantasy, I guess you could say. Like, it feels like, I don't know. So yeah, Kena Bridge of, where's it? Yeah, Kena Bridge of Spirits. So definitely looks more like what I'm into. I want to know if it's more open. It looked more open world, but I definitely want to see. Hopefully it's not too like platformy. But we'll go ahead and talk about this next game now. But yeah, that's just something I would really like. This. Okay, let's switch gears. So we're going into like a. This is like a sci-fi exorcism game that I've seen. You know, like the guy's like the main character or whatnot. You know, he has kind of like Bioshock-like powers from what I've seen, and it's definitely like supernatural stuff, like Japanese, like bakemono, like Japanese yuri, like that kind of thing. Like those are seem to be your enemies, but I'm seeing like a lot of digital like scenes and whatnot. So a lot of like Japanese style ghosts and spirits, like angry ones. So I mean, like I said, again, he looks like he has kind of like Bioshock-like powers. So I mean, but like even like against, like you see all this digital stuff, so it's like, okay, this is interesting. Usually you don't see spiritual things tied in with sci-fi elements, so that definitely piques my interest. I mean, the game looks great. Obviously I'm a big weeb, so you know, anything Japan related I already have automatic interest in it. So I mean, like this definitely, and it's got like that I guess you could say horror theme. It's definitely like, I don't know, it feels too actiony to be horror-ish. But I mean, I know some people will take it like that, but like if a horror, quote-unquote horror game, oh, the name is Face. But yeah, if it has too much of an action element, I'll just consider it like an action game. The Face, the unknown, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, this definitely looks like something I would be into. Oh, Ghostwire. Okay, Ghostwire Tokyo. I don't know if there's any in the franchise before it. This one comes out a little bit later, so I mean, it was cool to see it, but I mean, definitely looks like something I was into. And then the next one is from Gearbox. I know they've done some pretty popular games. Don't know too much about them or their studios. I mean, but they're actually having a release title, and theirs looks like a very hack and slash like nightish game, and you can see the ray tracing and on the floor and the reflections I feel like are really good, really pretty. It's honestly, like for a release title, this definitely looks better than anything from current gen. I mean, I'm not really into too much of the knights and slashing, but this looks like more like along the lines of like God of War hack and slash. And the thing that I was trying to wonder about was, like, is this a story game or is this more of like a MMO? Like, I mean, this looks too acrobatic to be like anything like that. I think I forgot. It's got something. I'll see the title and it'll tell me. It's like, I don't know, but yeah, this game is supposed to be a release title, and it looks really good. I mean, interesting enough, I don't know why they decided to do hip hop music for the marketing. I feel like this is, you know, usually like fantasy fans don't like that kind of music from my experience, but whatever, you know, maybe they're just trying to appeal to the different crowds. But this definitely looks like a good Godfall, there we go. This definitely looks like a great like fantasy hack and slash game. Didn't see like a lot of blood or anything. I mean, they make it look like there's like other characters, so I don't know if you can play it co-op or whatnot. Again, we're gonna need more information and details about that. Okay, so the next game, oh yeah, I remember this game. This game actually looks pretty fun too. Again, same element. When the guy dies, it resets, like, you know, he can rewind and whatnot. Again, a new IP. I think most of the focus here is going to be on new IPs, except for a couple, just because there's only really one new IP, or one game from the sequel meal that I really got my hands on. I mean, I know I talked about Ratchet and Clank, but anyway, going on to this game. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. It seems like there's a team of assassins on like an island and whatnot, and then there's multiple assassins, but like there's like head factions. So I've noticed that, and it'll show them later, but we'll talk about it. But basically, you have to kill all of them to survive. So people like to go to this island and, you know, and kill them. I guess that's one of the main things. Yeah, restart loop. So see, when you die, it goes again. So again, another Groundhog's Day type / day after tomorrow kind of thing. So yeah, this guy's stuck on the island. He's got to survive, but he's got to kill all the other assassins to be able to do it. So what I want to know is, like, is it just him that gets the time loop? Is it everybody? Like, when everybody dies, do they like get to come back and try again? So on and so forth. So I mean, there's a lot of questions I have about this game. I'm sure we'll get more information about it later. But you know, it just looks like a really fun, like really something I'd get into. I'm not really too big into FPS multiplayer, but good FPS like single player stuff like Doom Eternal. I mean, I'm enjoying the Halo stuff. I mean, like, this guy has powers, like, you know, he's got like swiping in Jedi, like powers, force push, force pull. So that, like, stuff like that, you know, that's why I like Doom Eternal so much, because, you know, I had the grappling hook, and you can do just so many things with like the fire, the flames, the grenades. You can do like these crazy cool, like, you know, dash combos and whatnot. So it looks very interesting. So yeah, they just showed off the other assassins and whatnot. So like a lot of questions. Obviously, there's this sniper lady that they show later on in the trailer, and yeah, there she is right there actually, and she's apparently one of your main antagonists. So I'm guessing, you know, you have to fight her a lot. I'm curious, maybe she has like the constant loop too. I don't know. Like I said, so many questions, a lot's happening here. And but it just looks fun. It kind of reminds me of BioShock in a way, because, like, you know, with the masks and everything like that. So I just feel like this is Bethesda's BioShock, but, you know, because, you know, he's got powers and everything. Like, the enemies are in masks. It just has that same BioShock feel, but like with a little bit more edge. Like, yeah, we're cool, we're gangster, we're like big crime and blah 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 blah. Like less like kind of like horror aspects, more like, oh yeah, badassery. You know, I enjoyed the first BioShock. I gotta play the second one at some point, because honestly, I really enjoyed that game and felt like pretty bad for not playing it sooner. But yeah, Deathloop, it looks definitely like a game I would be into, and I cannot wait to play it. So this next game looks a little bit more interesting. I feel like this really doesn't show like gameplay footage like at all. I mean, I get it, it's kind of like an announcement trailer, so it's like, all right, well, we're going to show you absolutely no gameplay. I mean, at first I was like, is this the next Call of Duty? But it got a lot deeper than that later on. I mean, I think this game is not expected till 2022, so the fact that I decided to show it now is interesting, but I mean, I get it. This is a marketing strategy, this is a marketing tactic. You got to show your players that not only is your system getting a lot of cool stuff in the short run, but also in the long run, give them more to look forward to. Again, another sci-fi heavy game, another sci-fi heavy element. Like, I don't know what it is. I mean, maybe it's just that this is the future of gaming, so that's probably what they're focusing on now. So a lot of developers are like, yeah, sci-fi stuff, because maybe like the technology and ray tracing stuff makes it a lot nicer and easier to do. Who knows? But, you know, yeah, you got like this astronaut looking character, like maybe he can't breathe the air on Earth anymore. I mean, like, you see a screen, you see a satellite, and like what's interesting is, even though this is like futuristic, like, you know, like with the suit and everything, the cities don't really look like that modern. The cars look the same, like nothing looks like crazy, like the satellite looks the same, you know, besides of course like this android type character, like the little girl, like just, it all feels like it's not like so far in the future. So I mean, I definitely like games that are like, okay, this could be possible, like, you know, in a few years, like this is crazy. And, you know, of course, Pragmata, I don't know exactly how you say that, but yeah, you see him on the moon, like, okay, how did that, like, what's going on, like, how the heck did you get over there from just like, you know, trying to mess with the satellite? I know that's strange and interesting. So I'm definitely curious about this one. I'll probably keep my eye on it a little further down the road. Again, 2020, still kind of a long ways away, but, you know, we'll see how that goes. Sony Entertainment. So I think this is actually the last game we're going to talk about, if I remember correctly. Like I said, this video's been going on for a long time already. Kind of talked a lot about this, but this is actually a game that this is a sequel game, one I actually know something about, like a little bit about. Again, I still need to put a lot more work and playtime in its predecessor. It's the Horizon Zero Dawn sequel. I have that game, and if you guys remember, I actually spoke to these guys when they won the South by Southwest Gaming Awards. I think like Best New IP and Best in Visuals. The game was fantastically beautiful on PS4. Honestly, I need to actually take the time to play it. because that game was just phenomenal in terms of not only graphics but gameplay. I really loved how, like, they, again, those futuristic post-apocalyptic, like, we're tribal but we also have technology. Like, I mean, that's why I like games like Final Fantasy. I feel like it's in the future yet still in the past. Same thing with, like, you know, Breath of the Wild. You had like those mechs and machines and everything like that. You have technology, but you still have a big fantasy, like, not fantasy, but like I guess you could say in the past about it. And that's what I like about Horizon Zero Dawn. You're in the future, but, you know, at the same time it's in the past. I mean, it looks like some kind of plague or some kind of plants are like invading the worlds. I mean, I don't know what that's about. Again, I don't know if these appear in the first one. I haven't played the first one. I mean, I feel like this mostly just showed cutscenes rather than gameplay, so I can't really get like too crazy excited about it. I mean, but at the same time, I can't act like Horizon Zero Dawn and gameplay wasn't like one of the most visually attractive games on the platform right now as it was. I mean, but like I said, this is definitely like, this is all cutscene stuff. So I am curious about what's going on. Obviously, there's some kind of like, she's got to save the world. She's like journeyed to the Forbidden West. So I feel like she's later on they show like the Golden Gate Bridge. So I'm guessing she's coming to the, yeah, there it is. She's coming to the Americas or whatnot, because that's considered the West. We get the concierge from John Wick. It looks like he's in this game. He's there. So I don't know, like I said, a lot. Again, the futuristic but still tribal is really cool. I love that aspect. I love anything that kind of mixes, I guess you could say, like time zones or timelines. Like, you know, you got futuristic, you got pterodactyls that are robots. So I mean, that looks pretty awesome. So Horizon Zero Dawn, the Forbidden West, looks great. I want to know more about it. I got to play the first game first. I feel like they'll probably port it over to PS5 before they actually release this game, to be honest. I feel like PS5 is still going to be pretty port heavy. It might not, just because it'll be backwards compatible, so hopefully it won't be. But anyway, guys, that's about it in terms of like the games I'm excited for PlayStation 5. So, oh yeah, there's Angie, by the way. I did an interview with her. It was really cool to see her in the video. I was like, I talked to that lady. But yeah, anyway, guys, let's go ahead and go back to the to my outro, because this video is already over 30 minutes long. So let's just go ahead and call it quits here. Wow! No, but yeah, PlayStation 5 actually did look pretty good. Now, depending on, you know, how many of these games actually come to PC, you know, I might, I don't know. We'll see which way it leans. I mean, obviously, if it's a PS4 exclusive, I'll obviously get it. I mean, that's why I get PlayStation most of the time anyway. It's mostly for their exclusives. That's why I get Nintendo for the Nintendo exclusives. Usually, if it's something that's third party and that'll be everywhere, I tend to want to get it for PC. But I mean, at the same time, that's only because I've had the 2080, you know, RTX 2080 OC freaking super whatever. Yeah, the RTX 2080 Super OC edition. So that's why I've always wanted to kind of see games that on my PC first. Like if it's something that's on all platforms, obviously that's just kind of like my preference. But yeah, a lot of things look good. You know, oh god, I'm already forgetting the names. I just freaking talked about the videos. But yeah, I mean, just like the hack and slash, like night game, like, you know, the fantasy style game, that looked really good. Project ATHIA, I mean, that one looked good. You know, the RETURNAL, that looked great, you know, with the dying comeback. The, you know, third person shooter, I feel like third person shooters are getting more love, so I'm kind of happy to see that. A lot of futuristic things. I think it's Kena, Bridge of Spirits. I think it was Kena, I can't remember. Head scratch. I don't know, but yeah, the Bridge of Spirits looked like a great game. So I mean, like I said, most of these things, like the new game from Guerrilla Games, it was kind of cool to see Angie. No, I did an interview with her, so it's always nice to see when someone big is doing a presentation. Like, yes, she was on my channel already once before. Fantastic. But yeah, she works really hard on the game. I remember talking to her and about the love she put into the first Horizon Zero Dawn, so I'm excited to see her work for the second time in a row. Again, I should play that game. It is a great game. I put like at least 15 hours into it before I stopped playing. I don't know, it was just, at the time, I don't know. I think at the time I was such a hardcore, like, yeah, Nintendo, blah, 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 and I still am, don't get me wrong, but it's like, I feel like now I'm getting hungry and thirsty for more games. Like I said, if you watched my last video, you'll learn that, like, I did not, like, get really big into Nintendo until, like, I was in my 20s. Like, that was, so I caught up to a lot of things with the Nintendo franchise, and now that I'm kind of, like, I've played most of the first party titles, there's very few that I have that people know about that aren't. I'm actually starting to want to play other games. And that's why I'm playing Halo. That's why I got a PC, because like I was just getting that itch. So I mean, like the PlayStation 5, I think, you know, seeing all that, seeing just, I don't know, it has that, God. I always feel like a new generation is like, it's so bittersweet, because it's like, it's the end of an era, and it was the end of a great era. Honestly, like I think the PS4, Wii U, Switch, and in general, I feel like, yeah, the Xbox One, I feel like that generation just kind of like did something that the other generations didn't do. I can't quite put my finger on it. I just feel like, I feel what they did and why I'm seeing so many new IPs is like it milked and burnt out a lot of franchises. So like, we're hungry. Developers are hungry to make those games. Gamers are hungry to play new IPs. Nintendo, I mean, like Nintendo, like they did the Paper Mario thing. They're like the only like studio that can get away with it. I think they're the only platform that can, because we just all, like, everybody who gets a Nintendo wants their first party franchises. But that's just the thing. Those games are so good. You can keep making them. They can keep selling, because that's where they put their love and focus in there, you know, that's where their first party money and franchises, you know, franchise love goes, is, you know, first party Nintendo. But yeah, we're on the cusp of a new generation. I'm excited. A lot of sci-fi games, which I can dig. A lot of the things that were shown. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of sequels, but there was a lot of things that were new. So many things that were new. Like most of the things I'm really excited about are new. Some gave dates, others did not. So like I said, we just only talked for like about a handful. Sorry if your game didn't make the discussion, but it's just, there was too many. There's too many that, you know, I had to talk about this video. I tried not to make a 2-hour video like I did last time, because yeah, that was intense. But I loved making that video. That was a lot of fun. But anyway, guys, like, what do you think, man? Just what in the comments, shout out. Honestly, like, the price rumor, I think so far, like as of today, the price rumor started off at $700. Now it's like $499 or I think I saw like $399 or $499. I feel like that's fair. I mean, honestly, a ray tracing graphics card, a compatible ray tracing graphics card, like the 2060, the RTX 2060. I think it's super now. I don't think they even make the normal 2060 anymore. That's about $400 starting off. That's on the low end. So I feel like the fact that if the console does sell for that much, it's great. I feel like since it's got the great technology, it's got the power, it'll do great things. I mean, of course, there's that rumor that, oh yeah, the RTX 3000 series are just around the corner. There's rumors, there's like pictures showing up. If you know anything about PC gaming, that's just the next generation of graphics card. But graphics cards update like every 3 years versus consoles upgrading every 7 years, and consoles are usually cheaper than graphic cards by themselves. So I feel like, you know, and consoles tend to have more exclusives and Game of the Year winners. I mean, like Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, Smash Brothers, all nominated for Game of the Year. I think Breath of the Wild was the only one that won that one. You know, Horizon Zero Dawn, Spider-Man, God of War, Uncharted 4. There's a couple others I can't really name off the top of my head. All PS4 exclusives. Some of them winning Game of the Year. I know, like God of War and Uncharted 4 did for sure. And, you know, anything that's cross-platform, you know, they make the nominees, but just like, see, consoles have a place. Console exclusives are still going to be a thing, you know, like PCs, I love PC. I have a gaming PC. adore it, but I can't, this consoles give me something that PC can't get. And the fact that I can admit that, just like, I just feel like I'm a wise old man. I was just like, yes. I mean, like I said, I wasn't a Nintendo fan until I was into my in my early 20s, like late teens. That's when I like came to appreciate Nintendo and like really actually love it and get into it. So like, I mean, this is just an exciting time for me. Like, games, I feel like, are an art form. They're the modern Mona Lisas, they're the modern Vincent van Goghs. Like, it's just, they're the modern masterpieces that we get to experience. I mean, they're not something that just the nerds and the fat kids do. Like, it's something that is a mainstream platform of entertainment now. So to be able to actually experience this and kind of like see video game, because I'm old, I'm over 30 now, so to see video games from like a very young age progress and to grow with me, I mean, that's why I'm just like, video games are my day one, so I'll always love them, I'll always appreciate them. So, but anyway, guys, again, I've ranted off long enough. I really glad I got my own show, because like, I feel like I got so much to say, but you can only talk so much with your friends. Like, but when you're spinning in front of a microphone or freaking in front of a camera, there's no limits. You're all my audience, so I appreciate you watching and sticking with me and sticking by. I mean, of course, I'm always down to have these discussions in person and over, chat and whatnot. So hit me up in the comments in my streams, DM me, whatever, make posts on my page. I don't care. Just be interactive. Let's talk about video games. Freaking in the comments in the YouTube section, tell me which game you're most excited for and why. Tell me what you hope to see in the future for PlayStation 5. And of course, price theories, why you want Xbox over PlayStation 5. Do you think Nintendo has an answer to this? I mean, because, we're in June. This was E3 time. PlayStation dropped a pretty decent bomb on us, and Nintendo was like, here's Paper Mario details and some rumors of Metroid Prime trilogy floating around out there. Honestly, I don't know, man. I just love Nintendo, but I'll be the first to tell you their flaws in what they do. I feel like they're not having a good, strong marketing presence for their holiday. I mean, maybe that's their point. Maybe they're just gonna like not try to compete, or like put a lot of money into marketing to compete with the new consoles coming out this year. But I just feel like, I think like we're 6 months away from holiday. 5 months if you want to include November, when most of the games, November is when most of the holiday titles release. They're usually early to mid-November. So the fact that we know nothing about those by now, and we usually by June, we know what holiday titles are coming, and we usually know like what they entail. Usually by June, they're like, well, this is what those games are generally about. We know absolutely nothing. So like, we're like dead in the water right now in terms of Nintendo games. If we're really splitting hairs here, we know like of a few games coming out for PS5 like during the holidays, but we know something. Like, we know a little bit. We know which games are kind of making the like holiday release. Like that trailer announced it. Like, we saw, at NBA Live. I mean, even though I didn't talk about it, I don't really care about sports games. That was deemed a release title. So we know of things for next gen, and we know nothing about Nintendo. That's a big problem. But no, for real. Okay, and before I open up another can of worms and another conversation topic, let's go ahead and cut it quits. For whatever reason, my PlayStation 4 keeps blinking. I think it's just because one of the connections are loose for the HDMI cable or whatnot. But yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna go fix that. Thank you again for listening to my long rants and videos. I don't know why I make these over a half hour. I can't tell you the end. I just like talking about video games. I like talking about gaming news. I love con videos. I love convention stuff. But I don't know. This is why I was like, I always just feared making gaming videos, because I don't shut up about it. But anyway, if you're here, thank you. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell all your friends. Like, this guy's can go on and on and on about video games. Whatever. But anyway, peace out, guys. Thanks for watching. I worked very hard on this, so I appreciate you sticking through to the end. Don't forget, like, sub, comment, subscribe, streams, stuff, things. And I'll keep working on these videos for you. Peace out. See you next time.